Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Look there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome. We are sorry we're running a little bit behind because I'm in the process of firing my IT guy, but we're working on that. So give me a little bit, probably till next time, and we'll be good. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a long time since I've seen you guys. Well, since I've talked to you. But we're still here, still going strong. Hopefully this year we're gonna, get back on the track of doing what we're supposed to do with our webinars. Had a little hiccup, but we are back. So
Was it like an alcoholic hiccup?
just want to welcome you. If anybody was wondering, this is the IT guy that I'm firing. Say hi for the last time.
Hi. Bye.
So welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a great start of the year. I'm excited to be here. It's a big deal to make it to another year, day, minute, much less year. So feeling super blessed. All of my family's intact. So thank the Lord for that. I hope all of you are doing so well and we're going to get this year kicked off. Now let's get into it. So my niece, who is the CEO and founder of Tyson's Storehouse, she was like, what is going on with all of this? What I keep hearing things about the flu and COVID. Now RSV is thrown in there. Like, what is happening? Maybe we need to talk about this because maybe somebody else is wondering. So I was like, cool, why not? Let's clear some things up. Let's get started.
All right, you ready for me?
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
All right.
I'm ready.
Hold on. Screen. Hold on. All right. They. Boom. Bam. And wham.
Took a little bit longer. Keep trying there, champ. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, guys. So let's talk about this thing. Well, the three things. We're talking about COVID, we're talking about flu, and we're going to talk about RSV. Now, I know you probably heard because people are talking. That's my next slide.
Oh, well, you didn't say
you're right.
The talk.
People are talking, right? I know you're hearing things. I know you're hearing people talk about, should I mask again? Do I need to stay home? Do I need to shelter in place? Are we back to that? So people are talking because they don't know. The CDC is not as vocal as they were during COVID-19.
I ain't heard nothing.
Right. So we just want to clear a few things up here.
Can I call his name?
Are we going to be shut down?
Well, all right. Dr. F, where you at? Dang.
So we dealing with it. He got some stuff on his chest. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So I know you're hearing people say, where are we with COVID now? It's been almost 3 years or over 3 years now.
We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of officially being shut down.
Okay, right. And it doesn't even seem like that long, but anyway, where are we with COVID? What is long COVID and this XBB 1.5? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Also, people are saying, if the flu and COVID, can it be contracted together? Should masks still be worn? I know I've seen a lot of people still wearing their masks. How effective is the vaccine and the boosters today? Not during the pandemic, but actually, well, I guess technically we're kind of still in it. But
well, I was gonna say, is it pandemic or now downgraded to
endemic?
Endemic, yeah.
I think I'm not sure of epidemics, but don't quote me.
Endemic.
Yeah.
Endemic. Okay.
So, are they still effective for now? And these are valid questions that people have. Should I still get the flu vaccine if I already had the COVID vaccine? So hopefully, and now that I'm reading this, I think I've touched on everything. I did not touch on long COVID, but it's not much to talk about. So we'll try to get that in there if time permits.
It's a hater.
So let's go to the next slide.
I'm already done.
Look at you. You working to stay in.
Hey, man,
so
peanuts.
So let's have a little bit of the background. Back maybe last year, I can't remember when I did the COVID webinar, maybe 2 years now. Huh? So I know it. I can't even believe it. So now let's have a little bit of a background of these three viruses.
Okay.
So Ray here told me make sure I don't get too nursey. I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm gonna tone it
I'm
down.
a helper.
He gonna kick me on my shin if I get too much. So let's do a quick refresher.
All right.
All right. So I know you have access to the internet and you can look all of this stuff up, but the background, the meaning of Tyson Storehouse doing this is to just clarify some things that you're reading, some things that you still might not understand because the internet can be a little medical and kind of nursey. So that's we're just here to break it down.
What's scary?
It is a little bit when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what half them terms mean.
Exactly. That's why we're here.
Okay.
So if you look at my slide, I hope they're able to see it. You'll see that the coronavirus, the influenza virus, and RSV are similar. And they're just similar because they're all viruses. They do come from these diseases are caused by different viruses. So what causes the flu? The flu is caused by influenza virus, typically A and B. So when people have the flu, you'll typically see A and B coming up as the virus. That's the cause, that's the culprit. But there's also a C and D. And for the lack of time, we will not get into those, but typically you'll see A and B as the cause of influenza. It spreads, it's for, yes. It spreads easily during the winter months when people spend a lot of time indoors. There are many strains that we just talked about, many strains of the influenza virus, and they can change from year to year. So, what causes COVID 19? We know a little bit more about that because we've heard so much about it. But it's caused by the SARS CoV-2, which is coronavirus. And coronavirus is a family of viruses, actually, that COVID falls under. It's a general term that we usually use for COVID 19, but it's not correct. It's incorrect to say COVID is coronavirus, even though it is, but it's not the coronavirus. There are several viruses under that. One of the viruses under coronavirus is SARS. Remember SARS back in 2002?
Yeah, I was about to say it was around 2001, 2002.
Right. And that is also a coronavirus. So it's like the cousin.
So it's a family affair.
It is. They are
Okay.
there.
Hey, look, COVID. Family reunions only last a weekend.
They cut up when they come together. So
God, not a whole decade.
And now what causes RSV?
Yes.
RSV, of course, is a virus. It stands for respiratory
Hold on.
syncytial. No. Syncytial. Syncytial. That's what it is.
Didn't work for you.
No. That's what it is. Y'all, look, call it RSV.
RSV.
Okay, don't judge. Don't be like Ray. Don't it's a highly
Syncytial.
That's not right.
Okay.
It's a highly contagious virus that can affect children and adults. So mostly you'll see RSV in mostly children. When adults get it, it's usually very mild. When older children get it, it's usually very, very mild. The symptoms are mild and it typically goes away in a week or two.
So what are some of the symptoms? Just real quick. Are you gonna
we're gonna get into it.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give you a background of what we're dealing with and why, it all looks kind of like what's happening.
All right.
So let's talk about the current situation where we are right now.
Right there.
So all three of these viruses are present, but it doesn't mean they are peaking at the same time.
Okay.
Though you can get all viruses at the same time.
Wait a minute. Time out. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me I can have COVID, the flu, and RSV at the same time?
Yes, because they're caused by different viruses. That typically does not happen. Please don't panic. Okay. Typically does not happen, but even if it does, some of them in a healthy adult are so mild. Like when I had COVID, I had the flu prior to that, probably a couple of years before, and it was way more harsh than COVID was. So it just depends. It just depends on the makeup of your immune system. It has a lot of variables and factors, but for the most part, you typically don't see all three in the same human, typically.
At the same time.
Right. But you can, but not typically.
All right. So what she's saying is a possibility. But it's slim. You might hit the lottery before you get there.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Ray.
See?
Okay, you can stay now.
All right.
So the CDC reports that pediatric RSV and flu cases are now down. COVID-19 continues to increase in adults, and cases of adults with flu are declining in the elderly and somewhat stable in younger adults. So even though COVID is increasing, it's not, of course, it's not what it was. It's not taking lives as frequently and dramatically as it was.
You know what?
But it is still around.
This. You said that you get flu for being inside, but we bucking because of COVID. So we just all outside.
We just all everywhere now.
So we reducing our flu, but increasing our COVID. Got to be more careful.
You all right? You want to sit with that for a minute?
You can't stay inside. You can't go
nothing.
Outside.
You gotta just be blessed by the Lord.
We're gonna sit sideways.
So I just want to put that out there because it is important to say that yes, you can have all three, but it's not typical. Also, let me come away from that and just reiterating what I said about COVID. I know working in the hospital, I have seen an increased number of cases in COVID, but they're, of course, severe enough to be in the hospital, but not detrimental. I haven't seen the COVID patients that I've seen, they leave. So I wasn't seeing that before during the pandemic. So that right there is a testament to many things, but we'll get into that too. A big part of the flu increase in November was our lack of immunity. That's kind of what Ray was saying, from not having been exposed to the virus. So if you think about it, for the last 2-3 years, we've been masked up.
Oh, we should have been.
Because now we can't, we didn't have that immune response. We didn't build up that response. So you'll see a large increase in the number of flu cases.
Okay.
So we didn't see that for a while because of the masking and other precautions. People were really being really, really good about washing their hands, staying out of people's face, covering their mouths. And that has fallen to the wayside. You don't see that a lot anymore. So now we're getting back what we probably would have had prior to the pandemic with the flu.
Gotcha.
All right. So where are we? This is just a little chart to just show where we are. In the last, what slide is my fifth slide? Last 90 days.
You don't know.
Because I got a little confused. The last 90 days, this is where we are. I hope you can see it. Kind of leveled off. This is just for COVID. Kind of leveled off. Oh, and in the United States, sorry. And then around December, January, we start seeing a little bit of an increase, kind of up and down in January. And we're still in January. So we'll see, several what they call surges. And we'll see that. And it's expected. The scientists and researchers are not surprised by this. But because COVID was so severe and it was an actual pandemic, people are really, scared about it. And I understand. So when it creeps back up, everybody kind of panics. Yeah. So
the whole get tight.
Right. Right.
I'm here for y'all. I'm translating.
It's not long. Gotta see how you do for this. You may not be here on the next webinar. As stated earlier, cases of COVID are increasing on the East Coast. Cases and hospitalizations are rising notably. The Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina are especially hit hard, with new cases nearly twice as high as they were a month ago. In the West, however, many metrics are flat or falling. Several states, including North Dakota and Wyoming, are currently near their all-time lows for reported cases and hospitalizations. So it's really, as I was researching, I wish I could have put everything up here, but as I was researching, it was very interesting to see most of the increase in the COVID cases are in the South and California. So it's California and then most of the South. It's really, really weird to wonder why that's happening. But
what you trying to say about this?
I don't. Sometimes we hard-headed, I guess. I don't know. So let's talk about, I know y'all ready to talk about this, the Omicron.
Look, this thing has, for all my anime people, this thing has transformed more than Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee. I can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. If you feel like Ray, that is fair, y'all. It is so much happening with these things. So if you don't have a handle or understand the
They-
verbiage around it, it is very
They
scary.
ran out of Greek letters. They started adding just
You're
regular
right.
alphabet
You're right.
and numbers.
But what's so funny, I gotta say this, y'all. What's funny is that when I started researching and looking up Omicron, so many superheroes came up. Superheroes and like Transformer figures. I was like, where did they take this name from? So it was funny. I had to like search through all of that to get to this. So let's talk a little bit about Omicron. So Omicron XBB.1.5. So I think it's important to understand that Omicron is a variant of SARS-CoV virus. And XBB.1.5 is a subvariant of Omicron. Sorry.
So we got a sub of a sub.
So you got Omicron, which is like
It's a transformation from
it's a variant,
and then
And then
a
you-
break off.
and then you have a subvariant, which is the XBB.1.5. Let me say also that there are other variants that's out there, but they are being covered. The booster actually covers two variants that are out there.
Tired.
I know, y'all. It's a lot, and am I too nursey? I'm trying not to be. Okay.
No, not yet.
So it appears to be that this XBB.1.5 is the most transmissible strain of the virus so far. So let's not confuse that with the most dangerous or most lethal. It's just the most transmissible, meaning that it spreads faster than the other ones. Researchers are not real clear on how quote unquote deadly it is compared to the other ones. They just noticing now that it is transmitted quicker than the other ones. So Omicron is one of those ones that was covered under the booster shots. And then they found that this XBB.1.5 started off in South Africa. Don't quote me. Dude came back from over there. He was the first case. He came back to California. He was the first case of this XBB.1.5.
Okay, so it started outside the U.S.
Started outside the U.S.
But it came back to Cali,
Mhm.
and now we got it here.
Right.
Got it.
Cases are also believed to be rising with people spending more time indoors because of the holidays, gathering, few people wearing masks, and other features that we already talked about, less hand washing and things like that. So they're still trying to better, by they, I mean the experts and researchers are still trying to better understand this XBB.1.5 and the other Omicron subvariants. But like I said, there are two that they have got a handle on, and that's what the booster covers. That is the BQ. It's a lot. BA.5, and I don't even think those are the ones that are covered. But it's a lot of subvariants.
It's a bunch of. I'm gonna help y'all out. I got you. It's some letters that's covered, but the XBB not so much.
Not right, not so
Boom.
much.
See,
But
I
they're
got
working on it.
They're working on it, but
Working
they ain't
on
got it.
And so far, it's at bay because it's not deadly. It's just spreading quicker. So according to the CDC, they estimate that nearly 28% of COVID cases in the U.S. in the first week of January were caused by this XBB.1.5, which could be the reason that we see such an increase.
Got it.
So variants like Omicron and the subvariants like XBB.1.5 are not really surprising for researchers. They know that this is going to happen. There are several variants of all viruses out there. It did not take them by surprise. They knew what was happening, what was going on. I think their task is to making sure they keep a handle on it.
When can we get to Omega?
What's Omega?
The end of the virus.
Oh, I know, y'all. But let me just tell you this, just as a side note, and this is just my opinion. When COVID dissipates, when it's over, there's just going to be something else. It's just what it is.
All right, well, let's stick with the.
That's just my opinion.
Let's stick
So,
with the devil we know.
But it's a good thing that experts are on it. These people know what they're doing. Scientists, they know.
I don't want to know.
Next slide. Let's talk about the flu a little bit.
Let's do that.
Let's keep up with the current situation of the flu. So the flu, on the other hand, is somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
It can spread from respiratory droplets, aerosols, and through contaminated surfaces. So the flu.
What's the difference between the droplets and the aerosols?
Like when you cough.
That's droplets.
Well, that's aerosol. When you cough, it can stay in the air.
Okay.
If it drops, if it makes it, because some of those aerosols die in the air.
Okay.
If it makes it and drops, those are droplets. That means it's on the surface.
So contaminated through the surface is from
droplets.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Because I was like droplets and aerosols. So cover your mouth.
Cover your mouth.
Nasty.
Basically. So the flu been around for a minute. Mm-hmm. So the flu, y'all, the flu ain't scared of nothing. But
flu side.
But the flu, we got a handle on the flu. It's just like I said in the beginning, the panic of knowing about all of them is making people a little unsettled. The flu ain't new, y'all. There's the vaccine out there for the flu. It's been out there and it works.
Does it cover all 4 of them?
A and B.
A and B. Mm-hmm. You said that.
Yes.
So what about C and D?
Well, C and D is not, we ain't talking about that in C and D because it's not that what typically seen with the flu is A and B.
All right. Well, I'm just making sure, the 4 horsemen of the flu don't show up,
About 8% of the U.S. population gets sick from the flu each season, with a range of between 3% and 11%, depending on the season.
Okay.
So we're pretty much where we've been. With the flu, it's a little bit increased now because of the factors that I said earlier about, kind of
build up.
We didn't
the previous year.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Let's talk a little bit about respiratory syncytial RSV.
RSV.
That's what we're
going to talk about RSV.
CD surveillance has shown an increase in RSV detections and RSV associated emergency department visits and hospitalizations in multiple U.S. regions. Some regions having a really, really high peak level. Again, syncytial. Syncytial.
I was closer than you.
You were not.
I was. Well, I said sync.
I'm gonna keep saying RSV because I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. RSV is a common respiratory virus. Actually, y'all, this has been around for a minute too.
Has it?
Yeah, it has. That causes mild cold-like symptoms. So if you have a cold, right? If your child get a cold, usually you don't do much. You might get some medicine, check for a fever, let them rest, lots of fluids, all the things. So it's not really any different than that. The population that's at risk for RSV are very young and very old. Young babies up until, I think I read like 10 or 11
months.
Years. I think at 10.
They ain't babies.
Well, I know, but up until then,
okay.
It gets less. But the younger you are, the worse the cases can be. Doesn't have to be.
I'm just saying, you saying babies.
Yeah, with P5 too, sweetheart. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to be, of course, aware of what's going on. You have to have a healthy balance of your knowledge without being panicky, but at least knowing what is going on.
I was about to ask, so if the babies get sick, do we need to rush them to the hospital?
Mm-hmm. I would look for, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but I would look for, the babies being extremely tired, not being able to take food. Just I think the main symptom was very lethargic. I'm not a baby nurse, but just baby nurse. Going over what I've seen and what I've researched, I think lethargic is the main
sleepy
symptom, and not eating.
Drops.
And not eating. So it's common. Most people recover in a week or two, but RSV can be serious because for the babies, it can turn into something called bronchiolitis. And that's inflammation of the tiny bronchial tubes in the lungs. So not the bigger ones, the little ones. So it can be kind of a challenge for them. And pneumonia if an older person gets it. RSV can turn into pneumonia, and pneumonia can be damaging. So we look out for that as well. So let's talk about the similarities. How will we know, Leslie, at Tyson Storehouse? How do you know if you have?
Oh, that was okay. I'm sorry.
How do you know?
No, hold on. That was my line. Leslie, how do you know if you got this?
COVID or
RSV or the flu? How do you know?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I missed that on the television.
Let me tell you, Ray. Okay, so, so the similarities, according to the CDC, the flu and COVID, we'll talk about those two first.
Okay.
The flu and the COVID share very similar symptoms. I put them on the screen here. Basic fevers, chills, headaches, vomiting, diarrhea, shortness of breath. All the things that you normally feel if you ever had the flu is horrible.
And you can have a combination of these. It's not all of them, right?
Yeah, not all of them. You could have when I had the flu, I didn't have a runny nose. I didn't have fatigue, and I didn't have vomiting and diarrhea.
When I had COVID, I didn't have vomiting and diarrhea.
Yeah. And some people do. That's when my brother got it, when Lenny got it, his main thing was diarrhea. So it's just so different. But those are some of the similarities of the flu and COVID. They share very similar symptoms. But let's look at the differences. So the difference is it can take COVID longer. It takes longer for people who are infected with COVID to show symptoms.
Okay.
That's one of the differences between that and flu. Flu, you find you driving down the road, you get home and you start having the chills, and within minutes you are sick.
Okay.
Not so much with COVID. Also, people stay infectious longer than with COVID than they would with the flu. So that's how we get into a little bit of that long COVID. How you'll still see symptoms way later after you're done with it.
Okay, so
not so much with the flu.
With that statement of staying infectious, that just means you're showing symptoms longer,
right?
And not one of them zombies
that's just infectious forever,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the way that read, I'm like, I'm still can infect people, so I still need to be quarantined in a box.
Well, just a little bulletproof, Lordy. A little bullet point to that is how do you know? Because there are people who are symptom free that passes COVID.
Right.
So it's really, and we'll talk about how you're going to know definitively. We're going to talk about it. Another difference is the symptom that is unique to COVID-19 is the loss of taste and smell. You will not have that with the flu. So that's a symptom that they know is unique to COVID. And again, not everybody has that loss of taste and smell.
I was eating and
smelling. Me too. So, but when PJ got it, he lost his taste and smell. So anyway, those are just some differences. So since the symptoms are so similar, the best way to accurately determine whether you have COVID-19 or the flu is to get tested.
That's why I say go get a test.
Right. There are tests out there with a combination of 3, with the combination to test the 3 of them in one test. But that's an option.
Question. So when this thing first came out, people was talking about they was jamming the Q-tip to their brain. Why don't do that no more?
We do tests. We still test like that.
When you jab it all the way in there?
We don't have to do it as far. But
everybody was, including the CEO, was talking about they took something about that long.
Yeah, I mean, because if you remember, this was new to us.
Okay.
COVID was new to the medical field, was new to everybody. Well, not everybody, some people. But for the most part, it was new to us.
Okay.
So have to give us a little bit of
y'all just out here tickling people's
graces how we were doing things. So, but now it's not as bad. We still go pretty deep, but not to the brain. But if you want to know more about the test of the triple test, you can talk to your doctor or the clinic, and you can suggest that. I don't see that we've done that. I don't remember that we've done that. I don't remember a test when I test for COVID, it's for COVID. That test might be a little bit more expensive. I'm not sure, but that is available. Um, so that's how you know the difference. Just get tested, y'all. If you,
Do
if
you
you,
ask for the triple threat test?
I guess, yeah, what is that? Mm-mm. I don't think it's a name. I don't know. Just say you want to get tested for
Tell them I want the triple threat test
for the combined test
for the flu, the COVIDs, and the
yeah.
RSV.
But just remember, while we're trying, because Tyson Storehouse, that's what we're here to do, is to clarify and to make sure you don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. Don't
Just
go in there
remember
panic. Just
that
ask.
RSV is very, very rare in adults, healthy
And
adults.
if you're in the middle, it's going to be very rare
Very rare.
that it's going to take you down.
Right.
But if you're on them edges,
just be aware.
all right.
So, oh, I'm sorry. So we talked about the similarities between COVID and flu.
Yep.
But I just wanted to stick this in about RSV similarities.
Okay.
So remember, I'm gonna talk from an adult standpoint. So RSV causes cold-like symptoms for everybody, right? Kids and adults. Typically, they will recover in within a week or two. But like I was saying, watch for your infant babies or toddlers when they get very lethargic. They don't want to eat. Old people, they have the fever, higher than normal than it should be. Things that's out of the norm of a cold, because we all know what a cold is. So it's out of the norm of that. So I would, look for that. Make sure you're checking for those symptoms. And if you're not sure, go ahead and take your elderly or your baby to the doctor. So next slide. Now, let's talk about the prevention. What can we do?
Stop being nasty.
Yeah, like get back to being clean. So, guys, you can drastically decrease your odds of contracting the flu by getting the flu shot. The flu shot is very effective. I'm not sure that I address it directly in here, but you can get the flu shot and the COVID shot. You can.
So you can get both of them. So
you can get both of them.
The COVID, the booster, the double booster, the triple booster, flu all together.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Question. And it's like if you look at it like this, I don't know how many of you are on multiple pills, but many people take their pills all at once. I'm on
a lot.
Like 4. I have vitamins. Right. But I'm on a blood pressure medicine. I'm on aspirin and vitamin D. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm about to say, don't tell.
No, that's it. But if you think about it, I take all of those medicines. I'm not scared that they're not going to do what it's supposed to do. The medicines know what they're supposed to do. They do what they're supposed to do when you take them, even though I take them all together.
Hey, wait a minute. Let me put this disclosure here for legal purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got the call from legal. All right. Consult with your doctor on medicines and vitamins, but what we saying with these, they are together.
Yes, that was just an example, but probably not the best example. Right. My bad.
Yeah.
So yes, please consult with your doctor. I don't want nobody saying Tyson Storehouse did anything.
Consult with your doctor.
Consult with your doctor with those things. But yes, it is safe to take the flu vaccine. So please take it. Please don't think that you can't take the flu vac because you already had the COVID. The COVID vaccination won't cover you for flu. There are 2 different viruses.
If I've gotten the flu, do I still need a flu shot in that season?
Yes, you need a flu shot every season.
No, I'm saying
even if you had it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it don't work like the COVID. I got the COVID, so I got antibodies that, or I might have flu A and flu B around the COVID.
Could be. But you're probably thinking more outside of what my webinar is. Okay. So you might want to consult your Google doctor and see what he knows.
I don't talk to my Google doctor.
So
Google doctor's scary.
Right. So that's my whole point, y'all.
Okay.
Just make sure you take the flu shot when it's offered to you. Please don't think that, I'm good because I got the COVID shot. No.
They ain't the same.
They cover what they cover. Okay, so make sure you do that. So also you want to. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Also, be assured that the flu shot protects against the most anticipated strains of that flu. Remember, I said flu is not new; it's old. So they done perfected this thing. So
it's an OG.
It is. So when
Or
you get the
OV.
flu,
Oh, virus.
y'all, he won't be here next webinar. So when you get the flu, please be assured, get the flu shot. Be assured that it does cover the different strains. Engaging in proper hygiene practices with your baby, talking about RSV now, can reduce the risk of infections, including RSV. Avoid placing your baby in contact with anyone who exhibits symptoms of the common cold. I don't care if grandma say, girl, I've been sniffing for the last couple of days. It's just allergies. Don't let grandma kiss on that baby. Okay? Love you, grandma. Keep them away from those situations. Wash your hands regularly and don't let anyone smoke around your baby. Okay? Because that puts their little lungs at a compromised little. So you don't want that.
Secondhand smoke around the baby.
So back to what we talked about with COVID.
Okay.
You can reduce the risk of contracting COVID by getting vaccinated, of course. If you haven't, please do. Get your vaccinations, get your boosters. Follow the CDC guidelines, which are still out there, and it includes wearing masks in social settings and in closed spaces. Don't hate on people who still wearing masks. I know a lot of people are still wearing masks. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. I know a couple of my, not friends, but people I know will just be like, that just don't make sense. We need to get back to normal. No, them people want to stay as safe as they want to stay.
Yeah.
You
don't know people's situation.
Right. Give people that they can do what they want. And I think it's a good idea. I actually think it's a good idea. So if you want to do that, leave people alone, let them do what they want. Also, always wash your hands and sanitize regularly. Make sure that happens. Okay. So guys, I hope that helped some. I hope that was cleared up. I hope we were able to make you feel a little bit more at ease with what's going on with all the words and all the letters and all the things. So please try not to panic. And just remember, put your knowledge to work. Start looking stuff up. If you're not sure about something, don't be in the dark. Read, ask your doctor, consult with him or her, and just make sure you're on the right track and you're keeping you and your family as safe as possible, because we at Tyson Storehouse want you to stay safe. So
definitely. Thank y'all.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Be looking out for our next webinars. I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna do right. I was just busy being a new wife, but I'm gonna be right. Get right. So look out for our
we'll be back.
Future webinars.
She'll be back.
So excited. Thank you guys so much.
I might not have a job.
You won't. Ooh. Thank you so much, you guys.
How you gonna get this done?
I don't know. Have a great night. Bye, everybody. Bye.